Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Brian, just here with a quick OBS tip. Recently, I have started using OBS to do kind of some screen-in-screen type recordings of tutorials. And one of the things that I'm not overly happy with out of the box, and this isn't, I think, an OBS problem, it's more just an overall system sound problem, is that I have a really nice mic here. It's this Shure microphone, which is very popular among podcasters and content creators. And I have somewhat of a nasally sounding, but I also have a pretty good low end to my voice. And the natural sound on the computer just doesn't actually cut it, so to speak. So I recently came across some plugins that are free that you can install into the OBS software. And for those that don't know, OBS is a free broadcast software that allows you to do video production, if you will, for like a live stream or a podcast, etc. So what you're hearing right now is the natural audio that is just being created from my system, my MacBook here, with no plugins or filters being added at all. So these plugins will help to enhance the overall sound itself, and I think you'll agree. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in underneath my Shure mic, and I'm going to go underneath the settings and go to filters. And you'll notice I already have the filters that I'm going to talk about here loaded, but they're currently turned off. So the first one is called Slick EQ, and this is basically going to bring in quite a bit of enhancement to the lows, mids, and highs of the sound that's being produced naturally by the microphone. So I'm going to go ahead while I'm talking and just turn on the Slick EQ plugin, and you definitely probably heard an improvement in the overall quality of the sound itself. That's because we're taking the lows, for example, and bringing them up more to the surface with some warmth. You're hearing the mids and the highs. They're a lot clearer and crisper than they were previously. One of the things I really love about the VST plugins is that they provide you like a visual user interface that's not just sliders. I like these knobs. It makes me feel like I'm actually using a tactile piece of equipment to do the tweaks. And you literally can come in here and dial in the settings that work for your voice. If you don't like the dials and you happen to be an engineer and you know the numbers of like the hertz and the decibels that you need for your sound, you can also come in and just manually type those in as well. Next is TDR Nova. This plugin will basically help with the plosives, so the B's and the P sounds, for example, that you have on the microphone. A lot of times they're either too muted and you don't hear them, or they're too prominent and they pop really loud. So this TDR Nova plugin gives you the ability to actually come in and control the settings for those things as well. And so again, the UI, you can kind of see that you can take a look at what your voice is actually doing, and then you can essentially create thresholds for those particular settings as well. Next would be the Catelnikov. This is a light compressor. And what this will do is it'll allow you to control the dynamic range of the sound itself and essentially roll off certain frequencies while allowing other frequencies. And compressors can also be used, which I'm going to get to when I get to this last compressor, to give you the ability to increase the overall range, kind of like a limiter, without distorting or clipping the audio itself. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on the Catelnikov, and you may have heard, may not have heard a difference there, but I just added it in a little bit to help with some of the overall compression of my vocal. Now this next one called Wider is really interesting. If I go ahead and turn this on, you're going to hear my voice just like spread out like crazy probably. So I'm going to show you the interface for this one. It's very simple. But what it does is it allows you to essentially increase the width of your voice. So it's taking that more centered sound. This is without the plugin. Now, if I start adding it in, you can kind of hear my voice spreading out into the stereo spectrum, if you will. And you can go all the way up to 200% here, which is just totally crazy. So I'm going to dial this back down to maybe about 50. And then the expander, this one, like if you listen closely, you'll be able to hear my mouse clicks and my keyboard typing. And this drives me nuts when I'm listening to someone that's doing a tutorial. So that's my mouse clicking, the wheel. And then I'm going to type. So what I did was I dialed in the OBS provides an expander plugin. I dialed that in to get rid of those sounds. So if I go ahead and turn this on, I'm going to now click my mouse. I'm going to roll the wheel. And then I'm going to go ahead and type. And you're going to notice that you probably did not hear them that time. And then finally is a compressor that I'm basically applying to the whole mix. And what this will do is it'll help to bring up the overall volume level. This is especially useful for like recording tutorials or demo videos or just doing podcasts or creating content because a lot of times the signal's just too low naturally. So a compressor allows you to be able to actually increase that overall output level without having distortions and clipping. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that on while I'm talking right now. And I didn't increase my volume at all talking in the room here, but you definitely heard an increase in the volume on whatever you're listening to this video through, whether it's headphones or a speaker on your system. But the nice thing about it is it's not going to allow any distortion or clipping. If I go over a certain decibel threshold, it'll actually compress that audio level down so that it doesn't actually distort or clip. So I hope you found this video useful. These are some really cool plugins. They're totally free. Some of them come with OBS. Some of them I downloaded from an alternate place. And I'd be happy to provide that if you're interested. Thanks.